Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be shedding light on the ample problems appertaining to not engaging in virtue signaling. So, what are some of the ample issues appertaining to desisting, abstaining, and refraining from engaging in virtue signaling? Without further ado, without further delay, allow me to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Neglecting to engage in virtue signaling can redound to your disadvantage. It can cause you to yield undesirable outcomes out of life. People want to definitively know that you are a righteous, virtuous, and moral individual. They want to know your opinions. They want to know your sentiments. They want to know where you stand on issues. You do not want to be perceived to be an infamous, notorious, disreputable individual. You want to be able to brand yourself as a virtuous, righteous, and moral individual. So when you neglect to engage in virtue signaling, people do not know your opinions, nor sentiments, nor positions. And you also become all the less apt to become a reputable, trustworthy, venerated, revered, approachable, likable, winsome, influential, persuasive individual. People want to know that your decisions are eminently aligned with moral correctness. They want to definitively, unquestionably, staunchly know that. You're less apt to be ingratiated with other people and ushered into social circles if you desist from engaging in virtue signaling. People are always more complacent. They are always more content. They are always more comfortable with being around virtuous, righteous, moral individuals than they are being surrounded by nefarious, unrighteous, immoral individuals. So you should take a stance and always ensure that your words and actions are eminently aligned with moral correctness. It is a matter of principle. Do not encroach on your moral code and be adherent to biblical law. Virtue signaling boosts your reputation if you profusely engage in it. Moreover, it can also bolster your public image if you incessantly engage in virtue signaling. Just make sure that your words and actions are not hypocritical. It's the right frame of mind to engage in virtue signaling. But just make sure that you're authentic, sincere, and genuine opinions, sentiments, and thoughts are truly moral, righteous, and virtuous. Your introspective opinions should not encroach on your moral code, nor on biblical law. So, when you shirk on engaging in virtue signaling, you are less apt to attain a position of power if that is what you desire, and you are less cumbersome to rally patron support. Moreover, it can also be all the more cumbersome, all the more arduous, and all the more ineffably difficult to reach your higher aspirations and attain extreme wealth, as well as reach your overarching goals if you desist from engaging in virtue signaling. People will be supportive of you. They will be amenable to supporting you if they perceive you to be a trustworthy, reputable, venerated, revered, approachable, virtuous, righteous, and moral individual. And it is easier to elevate your standard of living, elicit better life outcomes if you engage in virtue signaling. If you do not, it's harder to reach your higher aspirations and reach your overarching goals and attain extreme wealth, because it repels people from you if they do not perceive you to be a virtuous, righteous, nor moral individual. People need to be attracted to you. They need to be supportive of you for you to be able to yield better life outcomes out of life. If no one gravitates towards you, it's going to be all the more cumbersome, all the more arduous, and all the more ineffably difficult to be successful in life. We travail to be successful, but results are not guaranteed, so you need to avail yourself of every advantage that you can capitalize on, and it is deemed to be advantageous to be perceived as a reputable, trustworthy, virtuous, righteous, and moral individual. Furthermore, it's also a matter of principle. It's the right thing to do to ensure that your actions and words are eminently aligned with moral correctness in every facet. Do not encroach on your moral code. And it can be problematic to not engage in virtue signaling, because it can result in you having a lower standard of living and far less abundance and wealth than you would otherwise have if you engaged in virtue signaling. People will be all the more amenable to being supportive of you and showing you patronage if you engage in virtue signaling. Out of life, you want to be able to actualize your latent potential, reach your overarching goals, reach your higher aspirations, and manifest a prosperous, abundant, auspicious future for yourself into reality. You do not want your future to be bleak, grim, nor dismal. You also want to be able to manifest the quintessential version of yourself into reality. And ideally, if possible, you also want to be able to attain extreme wealth so that you can significantly elevate your standard of living. But if you shirk on engaging in virtue signaling, if you do not brand yourself as a righteous, moral, nor virtuous individual, then it's going to not only be off-putting to other people and repel people from you, but it's going to be extraordinarily cumbersome to achieve everything that you yearn to achieve out of life, because the fact of the matter is that you will more than likely need aid from other people to be able to push your life in a forward movement trajectory. If you want to be able to ascend the hierarchy, then you'll more than likely need to engage in virtue signaling. People want to be surrounded by those who are virtuous, righteous, moral, holy, and reputable, as well as trustworthy. So, if you desist from doing so, then getting ahead in life becomes all the more strenuous, all the more laborious, all the more cumbersome, all the more arduous, and all the more ineffably difficult in practically every facet. We do not want people to be deterred to confabulate with you, nor deterred to aid you, nor deterred to be supportive of your ideas or goals. You want to be able to bring your lofty, ambitious, grandiose dreams to fruition. You want to be able to actualize your overarching visions. You want to be able to reach your overarching goals and reach your higher aspirations and manifest the quintessential version of yourself into reality. It is the right frame of mind to incessantly embrace virtue signaling. You also want to persuade more people to become moral, righteous, and virtuous individuals. So, always take heed of making decisions that are eminently aligned with moral correctness in every facet. Do not shirk on doing so. Remain adherent to biblical law. I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling, as well as mesmerizing and captivating. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.